My guest today is Juan Sanchez, the founder and artistic director of Palenke. He was telling us about what Palenke means, about the arts organization, and all the wonderful programs that they have. Thank you, Juan, for sharing the wonderful programs that you have here in our peninsula.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, how can people get involved with your organization? How they can help?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of different ways that folks can help. As a young organization, we do have paid staff and we're always looking for qualified teachers. And actually, as we move forward, we'd love to have kind of like a list of folks who are available and willing to work, perhaps with enough top dollar value, but that are willing to commit themselves to being involved in the teaching of these children. But there's a lot of other ways of doing it. Of course, donating. I think I mentioned before, it's really, really important. As somebody who's been writing grants now for the past couple of years, some grants are really straightforward, and I want to commend the Arts Council for having an application process that is not very burdensome. But sometimes you're applying against, you're competing for even for small grants with large organizations, and you ended up not getting the funds that you want. So folks who might want to get involved in that, and especially in donors. I'll be honest with you. This is something I share with Paulette. It is hard to do the asking. Sometimes it's hard to just say, "Oh, by the way, this is really, really, really important," and we would need funds to keep going, because you're competing against Puerto Rico and the hurricanes and the fires, and there's everybody's asking, right? But still, I do believe that this is very much needed in our community. So people who can amplify that mission and the voice, and perhaps they can say, you know what, I don't have any money, but I have a couple friends who have been wanting to donate to a worthy cause, and let me introduce them to you. So that's something that we're definitely in need of. The other one is for volunteering for other parts of our organization, from putting together our events to which you always need somebody to come.
Do you have any event? And you mentioned that you have one coming up during the summer.
Right.
Cuban flavor.
Yeah,
Cuban
we have January 27th. We have our first concert, a Moroccan group, Aza. We will be having in February. We're going to have a jazz concert. We've been talking to Gary Meek to come in and do a concert with us. We're also, like I mentioned before, we're trying to pull together a Cuban culture week in April. So and of course in the end of May, beginning of June, we will have the Palenke Arts Festival. The date is still, we're looking for dates that the park is available at Laguna Grande Park, and that's our bigger event of the year.
This will be your second Palenke Festival?
This will be the third Palenke Arts Festival. We actually had a festival before we had a place. We wanted to show the world that even with very little infrastructure, with lots of great volunteers, nobody was getting paid except for a couple of folks.
100% volunteers.
We could actually pull something really miraculous off, and we did. We were very fortunate to have professional ensembles together with student ensembles in there, and I think that's our goal, to have kind of like a great community event, a celebration of what we do, and for the folks in Seaside to really see what the work that we do. And so for those events, of course, we always welcome volunteers, but even at the level of teaching, if we have a great Afro-Cuban teacher who's a volunteer, helps out John Nava, our regular teacher. We have West African drums, which we have volunteers for. But so the different programs do have, and if you have more specialized knowledge of nonprofit world, there's always something to be done. There's always something to be done, and I'm sure that the Arts Council, you have a lot of experience just pulling a lot of people's expertise to the table. We are hoping within the next 2 years to transition into our nonprofit because we are a fiscally sponsored organization. So
that's a big.
It's a big jump,
yeah.
So we put it in a strategic vision. We want to work towards that, and we're working with the city also just to see if there'll be also a second location that we could work on because transportation is a huge deal in Seaside. Getting kids to us, it's especially the older kids that don't go to school in at King. It's hard for them to get there, so we need rides and, so all that stuff. There's a lot of complicated issues.
No, if our audience would like to be involved or would like to learn more about it or be part of your organization, please visit their webpage, and your email and phone number are there, and contact Juan, and he will welcome any extra hand to help.
Yeah, absolutely.
And make sure more kids are being part of your programs.
Right.
So tell us, so what people can expect when you do your festival this 2018? What they will expect? How does the festival look like? I remember being there a couple years ago, and I see resource table and salsa classes and an amazing orchestra that you invited from a different part of the state.
Right. So for us, what we like to do is to provide kind of a mixture of professional entertainment, at a really high level, and also student showcases. So the first thing that you can expect is our student ensembles to perform. And last year we had our little mariachi perform, and our Latin jazz workshop, which is now becoming pretty proficient, and they sound great, in my opinion.
How many hours do they rehearse before they go to perform?
Well, I haven't done the count, but you have to understand that we are only open 3 days a week. So these are weekly classes, and they are an hour and a half long. So we have limited exposure. The hip hop dance class is now going to go to twice a week because especially for choreography, as a dancer, it's really hard to do all that in just 1 hour and a half a week. You have to do technique. You have to do, and we are planning also to do a little bit more songwriting. When Jackson Brown came over to the school.
Yeah, you need to tell us more about that.
Well, it's a great honor. Turnaround Arts, which is Kennedy Center sponsored organization, working with Turnarounds California. They have taken on schools throughout California and the United States to impact them through the arts, and the Sunset Center is another partner, and the work that they do is to try to provide like a toolkit for schools to incorporate the arts in their teaching. So the big vision is for the King School of the Arts to become an arts hub, in our area, which is really, really exciting. There's in addition to Palenke Arts, there's other arts organization coming in, and that's going to be phenomenal. And part of the work also is to bring in celebrity artists, and our celebrity artist happens to be Jackson Brown, who did a wonderful benefit for the school. And this last month.
What an honor for these kids to be next to this America's artist.
Yeah, and he's a legend, but rock and roll Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But beyond that, he's an amazing human being. Just somebody who has, I think, for my money, an authentic love for our community, and he really wants to get involved. In both the district, the school, our principal Sam Humphreys, and the leadership of the Turnarounds California, Turnarounds National. They're trying to work together, and we're happy to to be a little spoke of the wheel of what the school is trying to do. We can only do a little piece. We're small, but it's really exciting to have such advocates and for the arts. And like I said, he's not just somebody who's famous and very accomplished, but he's also just a wonderful human being.
Yeah, well, I think these kids are having a great opportunity and performing, having classes, rehearsing for a performance, being part of the festival, partnership with other organizations,
Right.
and it's not easy. And these kids are already having like a professional life, and they're key because all the involvement of
Right.
teamwork, respect for time, respect for your classmates about
Right.
when it's your turn to perform
There's a lot.
as a dancer, as a musician, and through your festival. I'm sure the kids are very involved in that, and this opportunity that they do have in order to continue their professional interior grow, and it's amazing. Thank you for
absolutely
creating a space here for
yeah
that.
and the jury's still out on the larger impact of Palenke arts over time, but I think I can already say that the gifts of having been involved in this work for these families and these kids. We have kids who are engaged in different classes. They're like, oh, I'm doing chorus, on Wednesday, and then on Friday they show up. I'm like, what are we doing today? I'm like, well, this is not the class that you're supposed to take. But there's nothing for me. Well, how about if we do visual arts? Okay, I'm ready. And then another, can I try out hip hop? I'm like, yeah. And then the families come in. It's like, oh, Mr. Sanchez, don't worry. I'm gonna feed.
Wow.
Yeah. So a big shout out to our parent volunteers. Yeah, they're like, we were having this last event, this last showcase last Friday, and these two moms showed up. It's like, oh, we're gonna clean up for you. Just continue doing what you're doing. I'm gonna clean all around you. I'm like, oh, so it's always so touching when you know that it means a lot to the kids, but it also impacts the families. I have this one mom, and who's physically she's not doing great, and she brings her kids to Afro-Cuban percussion with John Nava, and I said, are you gonna be drumming? She's like, I'm gonna pretend like I drum, but what I want them to see is that I'm willing to try. And sure enough, these two kids are really doing wonderful. And of course, with a mom who's so dedicated, on her only day off of the week, she comes in to drum. It warms my heart. It's like, this is the kind of thing that we want, and we have a lot of other ideas, but we cannot execute them all. We have to take, a little bit at a time,
Yeah. Well, 1 year, and oh my gosh, it's amazing. All the work, and I can repeat again and again. I'm super thankful for all the work and that Palenke brings to our community and all these kids. And I can imagine these kids are going to be our future teachers and musicians that will be teaching our next generation of kids.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. I there's a couple of little projects, and I think they're going to be shown later on, where my students from CSUMB, they put together a little mini documentary. I think that we're going to end up with, where there's a couple people who are I'm featured in it, but Diana Salazar, just an amazing young lady, 10-year-old who's she's like a prophet, and she's unbelievable. Where they talk about the impact, and there's another project which is a photography project where these kids are also talking about what it means to them. For me, this is really just an exciting time, and if you have ideas on how to amplify our work and class offerings, I also welcome you to come to the table, come to the fold. We need you. There's programs, especially the mariachi program. It's it's a real challenge to have kids who are at high level and really beginning level, right? So we do need like a violin teacher and a trumpet teacher and a guitar teacher, and our instructor is great, but it's really hard for her to do all those, and so things like that. I think it's important that the community knows about it. So I really appreciate the opportunity to speak in this format here in this forum.
Yeah, if you would like to, again, if you'd like to be involved, please visit the webpage and talk to Juan. And
yeah, we're also active on Facebook and Instagram. So look for us, Palenke Arts on Instagram and Facebook. We do have a little bit of social media presence, not as much probably as the young people would like. We don't have all these other ones.
Yeah, social media is the place to.
Yeah, I don't know. You can get lost too. You can get lost. I've gotten lost there.
Yeah, I'm sure your student will figure out.
Yeah, they do. They do. Paul Richmond, who's coming in the new year, he's an amazing artist, but he's also just an amazing social media producer.
Wow.
These YouTube videos are exciting.
You're going to show that.
Yeah. So we're gonna show a little bit of the work that we have produced, little stuff. We're trying to, for our fundraising efforts, we have a Patreon video that it might be showing, I don't know, at some point, and so people can actually invest on a monthly basis to the work that we do, as opposed to just a one lump sum kind of a deal. We're still trying to figure out the fundraising piece down. We need help with that.
Yeah, I just wanted to invite our audience to contact Juan and see how you guys can get involved and support this amazing work. And I'm going to end up with that. Juan is going to introduce his video. I wanted to thank you so much for being here today and share more about Palenke and all the exciting programs that's happening here in our Monterey Peninsula and in our county. Tell us about the video, and we will end up with that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a short little mini documentary created by CSUMB Cinematic Arts students, Tatiana, Gerardo, and Scott. Thank you for putting it together for us. It still needs a little bit of editing, but the bulk of it is just really wonderful. I think they captured a lot of the wonderful things that are going on. I hope that people watch it and get inspired to come around and visit us. Like Diana says in the video, she's like, well, I hope you're watching this. You come and check us out. and that's what we want to do. There's no gimmicks here. This is just work of the arts without not being pretentious. Try to make it as authentic as possible by real great artists and musicians and dancers, and that can make Seaside their home.
Thank you. Please enjoy the video.